Hi everybody, so today is going to be a very exciting video and I'm really excited to film this today because this video is going to be all about my 1-year update on my tongue piercing. I know a ton of you guys love my tongue piercing videos and you guys love when I talk about my tongue piercing, certain things with it. So I'm going to be making a 1-year update. Today is November 13th of 2013, which marks the 1-year mark since I have had my tongue piercing. And so I'm just going to be talking a little bit about, how the past year has been going. And I have a ton of FAQs that I'm going to be answering in this video as well. I do have an FAQ video from a while back when I had my tongue piercing, but there were a lot of questions in that video that I didn't get to answer, so I'm going to be answering them in this video. So if you want to find out more about my tongue piercing and things like that, just keep on watching, and I hope you guys enjoy this video. Okay, so I got it back November 13th of 2012, and I do have a video of me getting it pierced, which I will link below if you guys want to see me get my tongue pierced. So I got it pierced November 13th of 2012, and I wanted this tongue piercing since I was 13, and then a little bit after I turned 19, I went and got it. And I remember the day of, I was super nervous, but I knew that it's a piercing that I've always wanted, and I was really, really excited to get, so I went there. And I got my tongue pierced, and when I got there I was expecting it to hurt really bad, but in reality the pain really wasn't that bad at all. The piercing did not hurt me as bad as I thought it would. It's such an overrated piercing. People always say that it hurts, and that was not the case with me. The piercing did not hurt me whatsoever. So far, since I've had it, it's been going awesome. My tongue piercing is my all-time favorite piercing of all time. I love it. I love the look of it. I'm so glad I got it. It was totally worth it. When I went and got it, I went to a Mystery Inc. on Leonard. If you guys live in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area, I went there and it was only $10. I went there, and ever since then it's been going fantastic. I love my tongue piercing. I've had absolutely no issues with it whatsoever. So a few things that I have noticed about having a tongue piercing, and I'm not sure if I'm like the only one in on this or anything. If you have your tongue piercing and get the same thing, comment down below because that'd be kind of interesting to know. I noticed with having my tongue piercing, when I eat stuff, especially if it involves ranch or cinnamon, every time I eat something with ranch or cinnamon, it always kind of tingles my tongue ring. I don't know why that is, but every time I'll eat a piece of pizza and dip it in ranch and then take a bite, it just seems like the ranch will just get in the tongue piercing and kind of make it tingle and kind of make it itch. I don't know, it's really weird, but I get that every time I have cinnamon toast or anything with ranch. I notice that I get kind of a tingly feeling. It doesn't hurt or anything like that, it's just kind of a weird tingly feeling. A lot of you are probably wondering, what my tongue piercing looks like, so I will go ahead and show you. And a lot of you also wanted me to show you what my tongue piercing looks like without the bar, because you guys wanted to see, how what the holes look like and such. So I will go ahead and take it out and show you. Okay, so here is my tongue ring, and this is what my tongue looks like without the bar. As you can see, oh, it feels so weird not to have it in. It's so weird. The hole is right here. So that's the first hole, and then it comes out through the bottom. Which is right there. So, without it, it looks like a totally normal tongue. So that's what it looks like without it. I'll just go ahead and pop it back in. So that's what my tongue piercing looks like without the ring. I know I'm going to get a lot of questions on this, so I'm just going to cover it now before we jump into the FAQs. As you saw on the bottom of my tongue piercing, it looked kind of like a little white ring around the bottom hole, and that is what scar tissue looks like. I do have some scar tissue on the bottom part of my tongue, which is normal. That usually happens with piercings. You just get the trauma from the piercing, and then you have skin that hardens around it, which is just scar tissue. Luckily it's on the bottom because it is kind of ugly, but that's what it looks like in case any of you were wondering, because I get a ton of questions about a white ring. So it could be scar tissue if it is fully healed. That's what mine looks like, so that's what that is. So before we jump into the FAQs, I'm just going to be inserting pictures right now of day-to-day pictures as far as my swelling goes, because I know a lot of you who aren't subscribed to me are tuning into this video right now, and you probably want to see like a timeline of pictures. So I'm going to be showing you day 1 through day, I think it's day 5 or day 7, but I will go ahead and insert those right now. Pretty easy time healing my tongue piercing. Of course, the first week is always the worst. So, you know, that's kind of like the crucial time that you really want to take care of your tongue piercing is that first week, because that's when things can get difficult as far as like eating, you know, drinking stuff. You got to watch what you do with your tongue piercing because it is an oral piercing, so you want to be very careful not to get an infection, because an infected tongue piercing would not be fun. Luckily, mine never got infected. I took excellent care of it. If you're a smoker and you want to get your tongue pierced, I would recommend kind of taking a break from smoking, at least for the first week. I am a smoker. I smoke cigarettes, and when I got my tongue pierced, I quit for 6 days when I got my tongue pierced, just so it would be an easier time healing and I wouldn't be kind of irritating the piercing. Now we're going to get into the FAQs, where I'm going to be covering a little bit more on how to take care of it. If you do post a question down below and that is already in the video, I'm not going to be answering it. Just watch the whole video. You guys can sit here and watch a video. It's really not that hard. All the questions that I could possibly come up with and all the questions that I get frequently asked will be in the video. So just please watch it, and I won't be answering your comment if the question's already in the video. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. The first question that I get, and I don't understand why I get this so much, but I do, and it is, I just recently got my tongue pierced and it's bleeding a little bit. Is that normal? Yes, when you get your tongue pierced, either at the initial piercing or afterward, it is normal to bleed. A lot of people come to me and they say, I got my tongue pierced 2 hours ago and it's bleeding. Is that bad? No, it's a fresh piercing, and you're putting a needle through a body part, and your tongue is a very important muscle. So you are going to bleed a little bit. Some people don't bleed at all. Some people bleed a lot. Everyone's totally different when it comes to bleeding, but if you do get a little bit of blood, that is normal. Just clean it. Just put a little bit of mouthwash in your mouth and just swish it around, and just to kind of clean out all the blood and all the gunk that's in your tongue. So that's very, very important. Next question is, how quickly can a tongue piercing close up? And tongue piercings close up rather quickly. I've heard they can close up in a matter of an hour or two, which makes perfect sense. The tongue is one of the strongest muscles in your body. So, you know, when you're taking your piercing out, it can close up quite fast. And I've known people who've had their tongue piercing for years and years, and they took it out for a day and it closed up. So tongue piercings do close up rather quickly, so if you are going to be taking it out for any reason, like for school or work or anything like that, make sure you have some sort of retainer in there. If you don't want it to close up, it will keep it open if you just have like some sort of retainer in there. But number 3 is, how long did it take my tongue piercing to heal? And my tongue piercing was pretty much healed at the 1 month mark. I would like to challenge that and say it was really healed up at like the 2.5 week mark, but when I get piercings, I heal really slowly. So I wanted to wait a full month before I started changing it, so that is what I did. But either about 2.5 weeks to a month is how long it took mine to heal. The question is, how quickly can I change out my tongue ring? And again, a lot of people, you know, give me crap about this. You should wait at least 2 weeks to 1 month depending on how fast you heal. I would not change it any sooner than that, because when you get your tongue pierced, they give you a really long bar, and there is a reason for that. They're not just doing it to make your life harder. There is a reason for that long bar, and that long bar is to accommodate the swelling that you will have with a tongue piercing, because when you get your tongue pierced, your tongue will swell up. So, and if you're changing it to a shorter bar while it's not healed yet, so if you're changing it before the 2 week mark or before the 1 month mark, depending on how slowly you heal and all that crap, And if you're changing it to a shorter bar, your tongue can get infected and irritated because it doesn't have room to swell and breathe because you have a short bar in. So it's just really, really important to just leave the long bar in until the swelling has gone down, until there's no more pus and no more pain. You just want to make sure that it's totally healed before you change it. The question is, what was the first night like? And that was probably the hardest night that I had. I went to bed and I could not sleep on either side of my head. I had to sleep on my back. The reasoning, I don't know. I remember. Okay. Every time I would try to sleep on either side of my body, either my right or my left, I would find myself drooling on myself because, you know, my tongue got so swollen by that night, and I had to breathe with my mouth open because otherwise, like, you know, it was hard to keep my mouth shut because of how swollen my tongue was. So I had to keep my mouth open, and every time I would lay on each side of my body, I would drool on myself. So the only way I found that it was easier to sleep and not drool on myself is if I was on my back. I slept just fine on my back. The swelling didn't really irritate me. I just breathed in and out through my nose and mouth throughout the night. And I would keep waking up throughout the night with really bad pain. That's when the tongue piercing really started to hurt. That was really my only painful night as far as like sleeping goes, was the first night. And that's when I had just a little bit of bleeding, especially around the top hole. It was very, very, very swollen. There was a little bit of blood. Like I said in the beginning, that's normal. But that was the hardest night. The question is something that I will never understand why I get. It's kind of like the bleeding one that I said, but I get this all the time, and it is, I just got my tongue piercing and it hurts. Is that normal? Of course it's normal. Like, come on, people. You just got a needle put through your tongue. It's a foreign object in your mouth. You're not used to it. A needle just went through your tongue. Of course it's gonna hurt. It's gonna be a little bit sore and tender. Don't worry about it hurting. It will probably hurt for a few days. Don't worry about it. It's normal if it hurts. Some people it doesn't bug them at all, and some people they're just in immense pain, and that's normal. Like, you know, it's a piercing. You're gonna have pain with every piercing after you get it. Is how long did my tongue piercing pus for? And what that is when you get a piercing, not just with tongue piercings, with every piercing, you are going to get kind of like a white or off-white secretion from the piercing, which is pus, and that is normal. That is just your white blood cells trying to heal the piercing, so that's not a big deal. If you see that, that's a good sign. That means that it is healing. And mine did that for about 8 to 9 days. I had the pus. Time to change my tongue piercing. What size tongue piercing should I change it to? And that's a very kind of different subject for everybody because not everybody has the same size tongue. Some people have thicker tongues, some people have really thin tongues, and usually the standard size for a tongue piercing is 5/16 of an inch, which every time you go and buy one, that's usually the size that they come in. But if you have a slightly slimmer tongue or a bigger tongue, I would go and talk to your piercer and say, you know, hey, it's healed, I'm really ready to change it. What size do you recommend I get for my tongue piercing? And he will be able to tell you just by looking at your tongue, he or she that is. I have a habit of saying he because every piercing I've ever had was done by a guy, so I'm not being like, you know, sexist or anything. Just he or she will tell you based off the size of your tongue. Is how long was my tongue piercing swollen for? And it was swollen for about 7 days is how long the swelling lasts. Day 1 and day 2 were pretty bad, and then day 5 and 6 were also the worst days for swelling. But then when the 1 week mark hit, the swelling pretty much went back down to normal, and I didn't have any more swelling after that. What toothpaste should I use? And this is a very important question because not a lot of people know this. I didn't know this at first until I started getting, you know, kind of like a weird burning sensation on my tongue. And you should only be using toothpaste that doesn't have any, you know, do not use a toothpaste that has peroxide in it. Don't use a toothpaste that has, you know, baking soda in it. The toothpaste that I used while my tongue piercing was healing was the Colgate. Oh crap, why can't I think of it? It's in a red tube, and it's just the regular Colgate toothpaste, and it was just in like a cool mint taste. But you don't want to get like the Crest plus peroxide and whitening. You know, don't use any of that stuff. Just get a standard toothpaste because, you know, when you have like the peroxide, the baking soda, the whitening in it, that's gonna really irritate your tongue piercing, and that's not what it wants. Just use a really simple standard toothpaste and things should go just smoothly. Does it feel weird without it? And the answer is definitely yes. Oh my gosh, every time I take out my tongue piercing, it feels so weird. Like, it's like I don't know how to talk or control my tongue without my tongue piercing. Which is weird because if you've never had your tongue piercing, things are normal to you and you think having a tongue piercing would be weird. Well, after you get your tongue pierced and you've had it for a while, it actually feels insanely weird without it. And it's weird. It's like something's missing and you just can't talk normally and you can't control it. I hate not having my tongue piercing in. Every time I change it, I purposely don't talk because I think it feels weird. Like when I took it out earlier and I was talking to you guys, it felt funny to me. I was like, what? Does it ruin your teeth? And that's honestly a myth. When you have your tongue pierced, it's in your tongue. Like, it's on your tongue, in your tongue. It's not on your teeth. It's not anywhere near your teeth. My tongue piercing is very close to the front, and the reasoning for that is because my tongue web is quite long. As you can see there, I do have quite a long tongue web, so that is the reasoning why my tongue piercing is so far to the front. And you know, it really, when I'm talking, like how I'm talking right now, it's not hitting my teeth whatsoever. You know, it's not bumping into them or making any type of clinging noise against my teeth. So that's an honest to God myth. Tongue piercings are not proven to ruin your teeth. Like, so for those of you who are scared to get your tongue pierced because you're worried about your teeth, you know, don't let that get in the way of it. It won't ruin your teeth unless you do play with it 24/7. Next question is, my tongue is black and blue and it hurts and I just got it done. Is that normal? Yes, what you are seeing there is bruising. And I've seen tons of cases of this where people get their tongue pierced and they do have kind of like a discoloration around the top or the bottom. You know, it's really black or blue and looks like a bruise. Well, that's exactly what it is. It is a bruise. It is normal for tongue piercings to bruise when you get them done. It's not dangerous or anything. It's just, you know, your tongue is traumatized because it just had a piercing that it never thought it would ever get. So, you know, you just gotta leave it alone, keep an eye on it. It is normal though to have a bruised tongue, and it will probably last for either a few days to a week, you know, depending on when the bruise goes away. But that's just bruising. It's perfectly normal. Don't freak out about it. It will go away. The question is, does it get in the way of kissing? And the answer to that is no. The first time I kissed my boyfriend after it was healed, it felt kind of weird because, you know, as we were kissing, there'd be like a tongue ring in the way. But other than that, no, it doesn't get in the kissing. When you're just giving like a regular little peck kiss, no, it doesn't get in the way. But when you're like, you know, making out and using some tongue, it really doesn't get in the way either. You just really have to get used to it. But how did I get my parents' permission? I get this a lot, and I understand why. I look a lot younger than I am. But I got my tongue piercing when I was 19 years old, and I'm 20 now. So I've had it for a year, and when I got it done, I was 19, and in the state of Michigan, in order to get tattoos and piercings by yourself, you have to be 18. So since I was 19, I was already a year ahead, and, you know, I told my mom I was gonna get it, and I went by myself and got it. I didn't ask for her permission because I'm an adult now. I can make those decisions for myself, so I didn't need her permission to go get it pierced. I clean it when I get it done. You want to make sure that you mouthwash every time after you eat or drink something that isn't water. Make sure that you sea salt soak after you smoke or eat. When it comes to like mouthwash and sea salt soaks, it really doesn't matter what you do with what. What I did is I always mouthwashed after I brushed my teeth, and then as the days went on, I noticed my mouth was getting irritated with all of the mouthwash that I was using, and my tongue would kind of turn like a whitish yellow color because I was mouthwashing so much. So I switched off to sea salt. So, you know, I would brush my teeth, mouthwash, you know, drink some water. If I were to eat something or go have a cigarette, I would come back inside and I would sea salt soak. And to do that is take about 1/4 teaspoon of non-iodized sea salt, put it in a cup, get some warm water, swish it around, and put it in your mouth and really swish it around your mouth, especially move your tongue around. try to get the sea salt solution all around the tongue. It's really not the most delicious tasting thing in the world, but it does wonders for piercings, and it will do wonders for your tongue piercing as well. And they pierce through my tongue web, and the answer is no. When you go and get your tongue pierced, they will look at your tongue and they will see the direct placement of where they need to put it. They cannot pierce through your tongue web. Some people weren't able to get their tongue pierced at all because their tongue web was so long, and they cannot pierce through that because that would just, kind of disconnect it from your tongue and just cause problems. I'm not really sure on that, but I'm guessing that's just what would happen. But no, they cannot. If you want your tongue pierced, I would recommend going to a shop and having them looking at your tongue and seeing if you can, get it pierced or not. I don't know if you guys noticed this with mine, but mine is a little bit crooked to the left. And the reasoning for that is because my tongue web was in the way. So he had to kind of go a little bit off to the left and in order to pierce it so it wouldn't hit my tongue web. But it's really not a big deal. I mean, you can't tell from straight on. It's really when you really look at it, you can tell that it is kind of off to the left a little bit, which is fine. I like it where it is. It's perfect the way it is. I love it. But you got to take into consideration, don't just because you have a tongue doesn't mean you can go and get it pierced, because you do also have a main artery in your tongue, and you really need a professional to look at it to be able to tell where that vein is so they don't pierce it and so you don't bleed to death or hit a certain nerve, if you were to get it pierced not by a professional. You really want to be careful and make sure that you are doing all the right things. So just go and get your tongue looked at if you want to get it pierced. A short tongue, can I still get it pierced? And the answer is yes. I've heard of some people who were able to get their tongue pierced even though their tongue is short. Again, they might have to do it a little bit off to the side in order for it to, get away from all the main artery, the nerves, and the web. But yes, I'm pretty sure that you can. I mean, if your tongue is super duper short, I'm not really sure. I'm not a professional piercer. The question is, what are some signs of infection with a tongue piercing? And the answer to that is you'll either have a green or bright yellow pus that'll come out. You'll have really bad pain. Swelling will come back. You might bleed a little bit. Those are just some signs of infection. And, a lot of things with infection and healing are similar, but there is a difference because when you get your tongue pierced, as the days go on, you will secrete a white liquid, which is pus, which is normal, which means that it's healing. But if for any reason that pus starts to turn a green or yellow color, then that could mean you have an infection. So if you do have an infection, make sure you sea salt 3 to 4 times a day. If you are a smoker and you do develop a tongue ring infection, stop smoking. It's not worth it. Just stop smoking while the infection is going on. Cure it. Make sure you take care of it as best as possible. The question that I have for this FAQ video is, I have a white ring on the top or sometimes bottom of my tongue piercing. Is that normal? Yes, it is. I have that too. I'll go ahead and show you guys. So I don't know, I hope you could see that okay, but that was the white ring that everyone is talking about. And yes, that is normal. That is something called scar tissue, which I kind of talked about in the beginning when I showed you guys my tongue piercing. That's normal. It's just your tongue is very traumatized from the piercing, and sometimes all the scar tissue doesn't go away like it normally does, and sometimes it stays there and hardens and stays. Okay, everybody, thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it, and I really hope it was helpful for all of you. I know I get tons of questions a day on my tongue piercing, and I really wanted to make a 1-year update because this is an awesome date for me. I'm so excited. I absolutely love my tongue piercing. If you are considering getting your tongue pierced and you're scared of it or you're scared of the pain, don't be scared. There's nothing to be scared of. It really does not hurt. It's really quick and easy. Some people it does hurt, but everyone is different. I have a very high pain tolerance, so you just want to make sure that, you take that into consideration. It's just a piercing. It's really quick, and after you get through the hardest week, things will go back to normal and you will absolutely love it. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. If it helped you and answered a lot of your questions, give it a thumbs up. And if you're considering getting your tongue piercing, leave a comment below and tell me if you want your tongue pierced, or if I didn't answer any questions that you may still have, please leave a comment below and I will also get back to you. If you want to interact with me more, I do have tons of links down below that I want you guys to check out. Plus, I have a ton of my tongue piercing videos linked below as well. Like I have my old FAQ, me getting it pierced, talking about, you know, all about my tongue ring, things like that. Day-to-day videos will also be below, so make sure you go ahead and check that out. But until then, I will see you guys very, very soon in my next video. Bye, guys.